Peace, 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 family. It is YaNi, your peace pres, your peace pastor, the peace poet here. Also the founder of My SupaNatural Life. My SupaNatural Life. We are an organization dedicated to providing holistic communal care for folks via coaching, creativity, and community. Essentially, we're trying to make the world a more accessible place. We do our work mainly with folks living with chronic conditions, disabilities, mental health challenges, and it is Supernatural September. We are taking this work to the next level, family. And so we want to thank all of you for signing on today. I got to introduce my boy, Nick. My boy, Nick, is here with us today. Nick, say hi to the people. Let them know. Yes, let's give them some kisses. Let's give them some supernatural love, as I call it. We are so grateful to everybody for being here, signing on with us. Like I said, we're taking the mission to the next level. And so I had to call in some good help, y'all. Some good help as we expand, as we elevate, and as we grow. So Nick, hi, how are you?
YaNi, I don't think I can be any better than I am right now. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love it. I see you got your mug there. One of my mentors is always like, what you drinking on? So what you got over there?
I'm not gonna lie, it's iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Perfect for a little afternoon pick-me-up, you know?
Absolutely. So that we can get this conversation going and get these people inspired. I love it. So Nick, tell us a little bit about your background, the work that you've done, the work that you're doing before I hit them with a big announcement. Yes.
So for those that know me, I'm like notoriously long-winded. So cut me off any moment, YaNi. Because I've done a bit. No, my background is actually a little all over the place. I was like a music educator for a while. My background is in music. I learned a lot about leadership through music, and just like the art of listening and community and just sort of being a part of something that's bigger than myself. And then after college, I got into the nonprofit world, got sucked into like the amazing work of the YMCA and, being out in nature, working summer camps. And that led me to becoming a summer camp director at Loch Leven, where I met you, YaNi, with the Disciples of Christ. And with the pandemic sort of happening, I transitioned out of the summer camp world and into the world of coaching, because while I was at Loch Leven, I kind of had this realization that people are like the most valuable resource that any organization has. And I've been really, really lucky in working with like a diverse group of people throughout my entire career, and in learning and growing through them and with them and supporting them in their growth journeys through training and leadership and through education even. Like that was like became incredibly clear that was my passion. And so I got into coaching, and I started This Wild Idea with one of my best friends, Colby, and started this coaching journey. And then on this journey I reconnected with you, and I recently, I don't know if you want me to announce it or if you want to announce it.
Yeah. We'll get there. We have an announcement, everybody. We have an announcement. Thank you, Nick. You even invited me to be in a pod with you, a coaching pod, earlier this year, where I was even able to tap into some really valuable tools and skills on my coaching journey, right? We got to connect, we got to drop a little deeper. And what was funny for me was that prior to us linking up and you being like, hey, YaNi, how about this? I kept saying to myself, oh, I want to start working with men. I want to start working with more men. And then I show up in the pod and it was like a bunch of guys. And I'm like, let's go. So we keep syncing up, Nick. We keep linking up around, coaching, around people, around loving the people and supporting the people. So tell me a little bit more about your wild idea that you put out into the world. Tell us a little more about it. What's going on?
Yeah. So, I don't want to sound cliche, but like we live in unprecedented times.
Right.
You know, we're facing a lot. We're finally like I think, um, as like a community, sort of coming to terms with our past, and you know, we're sort of on the brink of existential crisis with some of the problems that we're going to be facing in the future.
Yep.
Uh, and you know, we're in a bit of like a do or die moment as like just a species, and not to sound like doom or gloom or any of that, but I mean like I'm really optimistic because I mean there are just incredible people that are so creative and so inspired and so passionate and really really care about just you know making the world a better place. And this wild idea was sort of found on the principle that it's going to take wild ideas to make the
Yeah.
world a better place. Like we need big bold action. We need innovation. We need to like really just like be really honest with what everything is sort of happening that's going on. And um, I, uh, I know I don't have the answers. Like I don't have, I've become awakened to how little I really know. But I do know that one thing I'm really good at is supporting other people, and there are many people with just amazing ideas, and I hope to support them. I hope to invest my time, my energy, some of my resources, some of my knowledge, and lift them up so that they can achieve their wildest dreams. Because you know when the tide rises, so do all the boats, and
Mm.
that's what we're about. We're you know coming together and being a part of something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Nick. Just wanted to hear more about you, this wild idea. What gets you going? You know, like you just have a wealth of skill, a wealth of knowledge, but also you come with the compassion and the love, and the sentimentality.
Mm.
I believe that's a word, and if not, using my poetic license.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Smith.
I especially love Nick when we're signing off, and I get a loving you. It just, it's sweet. It's just, it's you. And I love that. I wanted to ask now, when it relates to your life, when it relates to your work, waking up every day, what is keeping you motivated? Even as I think about how you've been deepening your journaling practice. Yeah, tell me more about the motivation, the healing, the this moment that you're in. I love it. I love witnessing it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, man, that's a good question. Uh, I think you know I find I'm just like celebrating the like the loving you signatures that I am sort of
Yeah.
stepping into, living into. Um, Above my bed, there's actually like a I have like a post-it, like a little poster up there, and I have my like I am statement. And
Yes.
long story short, I sort of rediscovered my like myself in what I call like the present moment when I was spending time with my grandparents in Mexico earlier this year. My nana has Alzheimer's and dementia,
Yeah.
and I just had this like really powerful realization with one of my coaches, that you know every second of every day, everything that I do is an opportunity to express love for those around me, for myself, for my environment, and I can only really do that if I'm really present. And so what I'm you know living into is this sort of act of being slowed down, being in the moment, trying to feel the space in between the seconds, and
Yeah.
you know, loving unconditionally, really living into forgiveness for myself, right? Because I know that I'm like so imperfect, and making peace with that. You know, we have to like embrace our humanity to access our human potential, and also, you know, coming to terms with the fact that I'm like incredibly judgmental. Like there's a lot of parts of myself that I struggle to sit with, and sort of taking off the mask that everything is okay and everything is fine, and just sort of
Yeah.
seeing with like the nakedness of my flaws as a human, and living in a way so that like no one is deserving of my judgment and everyone is
Yeah.
deserving of my love, including myself. And so I've been writing a lot about that. One of my daily practices is to write out all the judgmental thoughts that I've had for the day, for
Yeah.
myself, for others, for for the circumstance, right? Like the power, like the things that are. I'm just like, oh my God, this is awful. I try to write those out. I try to get those out of me, and practice forgiveness with them. And that
Yeah.
that that in itself has been incredibly healing. I've start beginning to separate myself, like, I am not my thoughts, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my judgments. I'm more, we're elevating, transcending sort of like these beliefs that I've lived with for so long. uh
Yes.
yeah, and that's
Very.
been the practice.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the getting it out, the
Mhm.
judgment, like the forgiveness, like really accepting all of the human experience. My therapist even has me in the morning. I have to sit and I can't do it for 30 minutes. It ends up being like 3. And I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not functioning this way anymore. But to sit with my disappointments and people that have disappointed me, and just sitting with the anger, the grief, the frustration. And after like 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, everybody's absolved. It's whatever. Like, I got to get on with my day. And similar to you, loving the people and giving the people more peace, more compassion, more care. All
Mhm.
right, Nick. So I think the people have heard enough about you and who you are. I think they're catching the vibe. I think they get that, like, you're amazing. Um, so I'm gonna kick it back to you. I'm gonna kick it back to you.
Okay.
What happened that time you reached out and you were like, YaNi, I want to sit and talk to you? The most like kind of recent
I
like
know, I know,
reconnecting.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was right after I had just gotten back from Sedona, and I had like I was like, I'm myself am on like this spiritual journey, this awakening, this new way of sort of seeing and being in this world. And YaNi was actually on my mind a bit because I had been following My SupaNatural Life, and I was sort of had like this internal conflict with, you know, what is service? Like
Mm.
how can I be of service? And like the most powerful expression of service that I've lived so far was when I was in Mexico, with my nana and my papa, living and just being with them, and my nana having Alzheimer's and dementia. That was, I mean, it was just really beautiful, to be there, and I wanted to expand on that in my business. And I actually reached out to Yanni. I was like, "Can we talk? Like, I need to talk to you. Like, I need to talk to you because my business is not accessible. Like the coaching industry as a whole is not exactly accessible. It's expensive. It's like a luxury commodity to have somebody like supporting you and working through stuff. It's like very limited in how we communicate. There's not a lot of like regulation or training that goes into it. So, I mean, it's hard to like really create an accessible opportunity for service, and
Yeah.
it's hard to get into there. And so I reached out to Yanni saying like, this is something that I want to do. Um, let's talk.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right, Yanni? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because at that same time, you were thinking about me, Nick. I was thinking about you, literally like running my mouth to a few people that we know. Like, I think I want to reach out to Nick to see if there's any potential, da 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 da. And
Mhm.
then Nick, you reached out to me, and it was like,
I
ding,
know.
ding, ding.
Sign from the universe.
Yep, yep, like match made in like earthly heaven.
Mhm.
And so family, we want to announce at this time, you heard about Nick, the beauty, the wonder, the awe, the powerhouse, That is Nick. And I just needed to announce that Nick is now coming on board to be our co-director at My SupaNatural Life. And I'm just so grateful to have you, Nick. Thank you for these past 2 months that we've been crafting and creating and getting it together, the vision together. We have our new dream team, y'all. I didn't want to follow the rules as it related to having a board. And so we now have our dream team because I believe in collective work and responsibility. And so you'll be hearing more about them, their lives, what they're up to, what we're up to. And yes, we're working on some good things, y'all. And it's coming down the pipeline. Nick, what you want to say to close us out? Whatever you got to say. And then the last thing I want you to respond to is actually this is what I want you to respond to, right? How do you feel about what I just said? And then what comes to mind when you think of My SupaNatural Life?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I wanted to say is like I'm going to Disney World. But that's not it. I'm so excited, and I mean, like, already, I mean, the ideas, the service, I mean, the love, right, that is like sort of coming out of this is so powerful. I'm like incredibly excited to like, build like a system of service for those that really need it, and sort of allow us to live service. I'm just so excited. I'm passionate about this. It's going to be good.
Yes.
We're just going to be spreading the love. We're going to be talking about like being whole, um, and what that is and what that means, and living it, right? Our being is like our ultimate tool, and that's what I get with you. And I mean, we have some incredible people on the dream team that I'm beyond stoked to be connected to. And it's gonna be magic. Like we're
Yeah.
going to create magic. Um, my supernatural life, I mean, what I think about when I hear it, when I sit on it, when I reflect on the mission. Um, I love that it's there's like there's a lot of people, I think,
Mm.
that have beautiful things to say about bringing community together,
Yeah.
about bringing wholeness into the world, and words. For me, I think of this is this pyramid, right? And there's words, and then you've got people that take action on that, um, and they do things. They really try to do things. They put action to their words, and then at the top of the pyramid is being. You
Yeah.
know, and I've met members of the dream team. I've hung out with you, Yanni, and I really am excited uh, about like the beingness of
Mm.
like the holistic wellness, holistic care, holistic community. I mean, and with the W, right? Like it's
Yes.
whole,
Oh,
complete. We're looking at the whole picture, and how everything just sort of connects and overlaps and comes to. I mean, everything is coming together, right? And that's what I think of. I feel like
awesome.
this is it's gonna be magic. It's gonna be magic.
Magic. I love it. Thank you, Nick. I'm hearing magic. I'm hearing whole. I'm hearing complete. But the thing I'm really hearing from you today is that beingness. And so I'm grateful to be on this journey where we get to go from doing to thinking to whatever else to being, and even being together. So thank you so much, Nick. I look forward to the awesome work we're about to do. Thank you for being a part of My SupaNatural Life. I love you.
Con bringing the sound.
Twisted, I said they twisted. Don't get me twisted though. I said these people got me twisted and they coming for my life. They evil and they wicked in the middle of the night. I thought it was a fluke, but now they setting people up. The divine design is now lifting people up. We were tormented and terrorized, they stormed into our land. The villagers were wondering, who is this foreign man? Why do they bring the discord and they bring in the disease? Ancestors, please bring these people to their knees. Are you ready, my siblings? Cause that strain is bound for glory. Truth tellers coming with another story. No more sleeping cause the people are awake. Never ever get it twisted, I'm the slayer of the snakes. What you gon' do when they come for you? We gon' get back. What you fight back? We gon' get back. I am because we are never looking at. I said these people got them twisted cause they think that is alright. They killed him on the corner in the middle of the night. I thought he would survive, but now I'm giving up my hope. Cause their ropes and slopes are causing okay for the joke. We were settled in the bottom, we were sitting in the back. Subject to the treatment cause the opposite of black. When they witness in Ubuntu and I wonder what it be. They checking for my people and I wonder what they see. Us will never stop the brilliant and our power is alive. The world can't take it from us cause it dwells deep down inside. We gon' do it, do it, do it. This is hip hop, me and him. From the crown of your head to where your soul meets your brim. Like, what you gon' do when they come for you? We gon' get back. What you fight back? We gon' get back. I am because we are never looking at. People got her twisted, they were coming for her life. They violate her rights up in the middle of the night. I thought that she would make it, she was Proverbs 31. But now they call her a thriver, used his body as a gun. They were trying to tell the secret, but the teenagers were scared. Times like these are way too much to bear. Where the youth are slowly dying, whether physical or spirit. Spiraling so fast, crash, damn, can you hear it? I'm praying for my babies, time to get on one accord. Transform the norm is all we can afford. Where we look at them for answers, where we look up for support. It's their time to shine and we will not cut it short. What you gon' do when they come for you? We gon' get back. What you fight back? We gon' get back. I am because we are never looking at. I said these people got us twisted and they're coming for our lives. We see it in their eyes up in the middle of the night. I knew that we would make it as I look up to the sun. We are spread across diaspora, we are the chosen ones. We got shimmy in our systems, we got rhythm in our shape. Gifts they only dream of, we got presence in the safe. We got power in our pinkies, got approval in our thumbs. We got 5 on it, but we roll them up in one. We gon' shift the very universe, ascension is aligned. We see the future coming where our powers are combined. If they ever got you twisted, then you gotta press rewind. Revolution is your birthright, you're a child of the divine. What you gon' do when they come for you? We gon' get back. What you fight back? We gon' get back. I am because we are never looking at. I am because we are get back. I am because we are get back. I am because we are get back. I am
Hey, peace, family. As I mentioned before, you are here with the new wave. My supernatural life, Reverend YaNi presents the new wave. And this segment is Supernatural September. It's Supernatural September, y'all. So I just wanted to bring on some of my friends, some of my folks, some of my people that I know are out just transforming the world how they do it. Y'all know I'm all about that coaching, that creativity, and that community building. So I have a dear friend on with me today. Look, you could go through the titles and all of that, but you are my love, you are my heart, you are just my friend, you are my confidant. You are an earth angel sent to me. There have been several times I've been lonely, babe. And you were there for me. Times when I cried, times when I just needed an encouraging word that I'm not doing this, whatever I'm doing alone. Thank you for being there. And even the last time you were here in LA, I'll never forget it. So I'm looking forward to the reunion.
Good. I know.
Sometime soon. So today, here we are on the new wave. Introduce yourself. Let us know what you just finished accomplishing, what you do in the world. Yes, give us a little bit of you.
Not the CV. No. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Good to see all of you. Look, wonderful peace folk. I greet you with freedom work and I greet you with freedom folks. So of course, as you probably know, and some of you probably know, I am J Exodus. Of course, always operating in free thought, free thinking, and a free spirited kind of work in the world. I am totally grateful to be here with you, YaNi, as always. And it is, the feelings are deeply mutual. And, right now I just, it's good to be done with a PhD and completed at Ohio University.
Yes.
And really couching much of my, work around humanism and preaching and interpretation, or homiletics for some of y'all, and hermeneutics for those who want to get fancy with it, right? Bridging all of that together and putting it into the work of like art making. And so really talking about the hermeneutics of the body, this body as a formation of interpretation, constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly becoming, and us having to keep up with the body language that's being communicated in the world. And a few of those things, that's one of the major things that's just, that just happened in September. So I'm so grateful. And it's really good because in the end, like right now, what am I doing? I'm still doing Keep Living. So as we kind of tag team before, that's still going. That's every Tuesday at 8. So when you tune in on Friday, get prepared for your Tuesday, because we on that out of season kind of service. And we on the off Sabbath, moments, right? And so we know how to like show up to you to be like, the prophetic word oftentimes happens outside of the watch hours, if you will, right? And I just, I'm gonna point that out, but yes, and it's like, it's also just good to be creating a new work. I'm also with the American Humanist Association, and we're getting ready to do a whole conference from called Free Thinking to Free Forming. And as some of you might know, my work around free forming and humanist work, we are actually now moving and creating a new trajectory within humanism of free form. So I am doing some work there around embodied humanism, which is very different than most of the time we think of humanists who are like really book and nerdy. I try to avoid all that I try to get into the hands and the heart and the soul of the matter.
Yep. Beautiful. And we actually, I think this might be our first panel together.
That's right.
Our first panel together will have aired already, but I actually wanted to bring you on here, the new wave, even as we think about the title of the conference that we're sitting on the panel for, what our portion is about, as they call us, the prophetic reformers. Prophetic reformers. What does that mean to you? Does that have any resonance with you, even as you talked about shifting the trajectory of humanism, right? Maybe this more expansive look at it, right? The church loves this word inclusive, but more inclusive, perhaps more accessible to the people, to the peace people, to the freedom folks.
Come on.
Right. So just talk me through that a little bit. Prophetic trajectory of humanism.
I'll tell you, it's really interesting because the word prophecy, if you were to say this in the midst of my congregational community, we would immediately kind of shut it down.
Right.
Because we're not interested technically in this idea that in the conventional ideas and methodologies of what we understood conservative frameworks around prophecy is foretelling, if you will. Someone who looks into the future or in many ways leans and depends on a supernatural power to kind of inform the process of how one lives, moves, and has their way in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not a stranger to prophecy. Let's just be real. I started out when I was I was 17 being called prophet, but I was in a very different place then. I was
right.
in holiness upbringing, sanctified church. Some of us are in consecration week right now. I have seen plenty of posts. People are going on their collective fast and not eating until 3 and drinking water and plenty of it like I am. And I'm not even fasting, but I'm just drinking my water. Water is life, right? It's all life. So, and so what does that mean for me today? And what is prophecy today? Thank you. That right there, I will go for I can go for the liberal theological definition of, we speak truth to power.
Yeah.
I find that to be a great way to start off and create a kind of a bridge, if you will.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think there's more to today when I use the term prophecy and when I talk about it from having a vision. The word vision is something that is something that I would technically use as a free thinker, and for those who wanted to wedge themselves into communities that do use such theological language. I'll tell you, vision is perfect. Because the truth of the matter is that we kind of know this, so some of our folk kind of know this idea of that, our people not only perish for lack of knowledge, but they also perish for the lack of vision.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, what does that mean as a human? That means that we look at and we walk through and we journey and we create connective tissue. Connective tissue, meaning that we find resources. We find in many ways, not only just resources, but we also find those who know how to organize. We find those who know how to in many ways touch beyond what's in the general vicinity. We go to expand our territory in the sense that we want to see resources available from a social, political, and most of all, too, a self-care perspective. Yeah. So we walk through, and that's prophecy for most humanists. We want to see it through. We want to get out not only hold signs and protest, but we want to actually be of service and compassion with vision for your life. That is, and when I say that, that's not done anymore. When we talk about prophecy, we normally kind of leave people, we speak something and they kind of journey on and do their own thing. Humanists are not doing that. Humanists are taking their understandings of the world's framework. They're not leaning on a higher power oftentimes, unless you have those who are mystic, who are identified as mystic humanists or spiritual humanists, which can happen, but they are interested in looking at the framework and the logistics of the world around them and creating structures, that they can walk through with you all the way until you succeed. Times I say, I want to see you win.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that breakdown. And I know folks are watching, they're learning, they're engaging, they're taking it in. And I'm so grateful for this platform, even because you talked about service, you talked about the compassion, you talked about the structure, you talked about the vision, right? But you talked about not dropping the vision or simply speaking a thing, but carrying it out, right? And journeying and walking with people. And that's what My SupaNatural Life is all about, providing holistic communal care via coaching, creativity, and community.
But that's why we connect, right? I mean, much of your work has always been about that. And like, I mean, when I think about how, you know, like even just the term of thinking about supernatural, like those are things that seem very strange to us, but as someone who also understands, you know, naturalistic humanism, right? Yeah. It's being in awe and being in wonder of, you know, the order of the world and how in many ways we can be in actual right relationship with nature, right? Yeah. And call forth in many ways our own ability, right? To see and go beyond. I tell people, it's like when you talk to a humanist, you're not talking to an atheist. You're not just talking to just a free thinker. You're not just talking to an agnostic. You're not just talking to these individuals who identify as not having any kind of spiritual affiliation. You are talking to people who go beyond belief.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? People who go beyond belief. That's what scares people because it's outside of the order that we think of as religion. It's outside of the order of what our families taught us. It's outside of the order from what schools can share with us. It's outside of the order from which all of our, you know, our community members said about us, who we were connected to. And, you know, in the end, we go beyond belief. And that is much of the work of that who is humanist.
Yep. I love it. I love it. And it's so interesting. So much of this conversation we're having mirrors the conversation I just had with the new co-director for My SupaNatural Life. So I believe people are going to be amazed at the notion of wonder and service and vision and mission and carrying it out. Right. It's not just a prophecy of words. You know, a lot of people have some insight on where the world should go, what the new world should look like. But what about those of us that are actually sitting down?
Yes.
And it's crafting these things that will live on beyond us.
How are you though? But how are you also, if I may ask, how are you approaching this idea of prophecy, and how are you, and what are some key elements that you use to formulate prophecy yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, what I'm realizing in this season is that prophecy has a lot to do with, right, the supernatural, in the sense the things that are natural, right? The water that gives us life, the feelings and the sensations, the touch, the smell, the essence of what it means to be on this planet, right? So prophecy, I'm sitting with the supernatural. What's super and what's natural, supernatural. I got a supernatural. You got a supernatural. In terms of our hair, aesthetic, the roots, what it means to be super and natural. As I think about prophecy, I think about and a prophet. I think about what it means to lay one's life down for the people, right? So often you and I we getting real with y'all, listening, watching. These are our private conversations that we letting y'all be privy to. But even laying one's life down for the people, and not being afraid of death, right? Not being afraid of right, what some think of, what comes next. For some, we coming back. For some, it's nothingness, right? For some, we going back to where we came from. We coming back as a cat, a spider, an ant. Look. Even thinking about that, like, and having experienced the death of sorts and living into this second life, you know, so what does it mean to be unafraid and uninhibited? And then also really living into this like creative flow strategist, coach, you know, title.
And that's beautiful. I like this idea of coaching as an act of prophecy, because that's exactly how I see our role in the world, just in general, as human beings. Like, we should be able to coach each other.
Yes.
And we've forgotten that philosophy because we don't know how to mentor people, let alone for those who are, I don't know about anybody else working jobs, but I can tell you right now, like when we work jobs, people have forgotten managerial philosophies that really empowered people to many ways, not only work under someone, but in many ways undergird them and support them so that they can grow, right? And then that person moves out of position so that they can step into position, right? But we don't have that kind of labor anymore. We don't have that kind of managerial labor. We don't have that kind of prophetic labor. And so many people are sitting with situations where they are all the time just tarrying by themselves. And they might as well be working in a vineyard or in a farm by themselves. Trying to cultivate the most largest field that they know they have available to them. I think our visions are really, you know, in many ways are like the 40 acres and a mule. And many of us are the only ones working the yard. When there's enough land, can I just say it like this? There is milk and honey for everybody in this, and we are abundant, and we not acting like we abundant, and we looking for everybody else to create and it's like, that's why I appreciate the work that you're doing too, because this is where we connect on that, you know?
This is it. Yep. And literally the last conversation, I was talking about how I didn't want a board. I didn't craft a board of directors. You know, I'm going by the dream team. I'm inviting folks to be a part of the dream team as we come together and think about what this next iteration of care looks like for the people. And I even talked about believing in collective work and responsibility. And here you are talking about the same thing. Look, all right. The people, I'm sure, have a lot to chew on, a lot to digest. Here we go. Give me your last thoughts on love, humanism and love. Take me there for a little second.
Now you're reaching for that deep work that I don't get a chance to really, you know, we often see love as an act of service within our community. I can be honest about that. The work that I'm doing though is very, very fresh. You know, when it comes down to talking about love and doing love in the world. I think the best way to look at love is, you know, actually sitting back and thinking about the latest work that just came out by a scholar by the name of Dr. Carol Wayne White. And she talks about Baldwin and this idea of love and how love takes off the mask.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been asking a lot of us to take off masks because we get coded. We don't even realize this, but we get coded by the fact that we engage, especially humanists, we engage with so many, you know, so many things regarding to obstruct injustice. So we'll get coded with capitalism. We'll get coded, and it's because we go in and there's nothing that, you know, that kind of relieves us and helps us recover. And so for me, love is a recovery act. Yeah. Love is the recovery. Love is the moment where I have reached all the way in to the place where you would not want to, that you would least expect.
Yeah.
And my hands will be dirty, but love then after that recovers me from having to have any infiltration.
Yeah.
Any toxicity.
Yeah.
Any trauma holding me bound. Any residue, social political residue after dealing with spiritual wickedness, institutional wickedness, ideological wickedness, right? Images that of wickedness that do not profit my spirit. Love is that recovery that keeps me completely out from having to feel like I gotta bring up every moment and make every moment about a social political event. I get to connect with you because I want to have relationship, and that right relationship is my love. Wow. So that's love. That's what love is. That's the love that I'm doing, and we are trying to do in that space. And that's where free forming comes in. Free forming is based in love work. It is based in love so that we can recover each other, not just cover them, recover each other from all of those tainted ideologies that seek to, in many ways, keep us in a mode of defense.
Yeah.
You know.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your truth. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being free and for all that you are, that you mean to me and the world and your beautiful family. I give thanks for you.
No, we love you.
Yes. Thank you for being here today. And where can the people find you, and give us one final message? Yeah.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, of course, and that is Ethical Evangelist, and you can also find me on Facebook. Basically, the show is Keep Living. That's LIV''N. Okay, for those who love to spell it with the IN, it is just apostrophe N. And so you'll find that with Keep Living with J Exodus. Tune in on Tuesdays. So glad to have you. Hope you tune in possibly this upcoming Saturday. If this has not hit the market before then, but if you have not, in the end, that's one of the things that I'm excited about. And to close it all off, as I always say, love yourself in the process called life, and may goodness and sexy follow you all the days of it.
Hey, there it is, y'all. There it is. Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Welcome.